Every Straw Hat has a moment that completely broke them, and another moment that saved them. From Robin wanting to die to Luffy losing Ace today, we're going through the darkest and happiest moments of every Straw Hat pirate. Chopper's darkest moment was when he realized he could never truly belong anywhere. Humans called him a monster because he was a reindeer, and reindeer rejected him because of his blue nose. He spent most of his childhood completely isolated, with nobody willing to accept him. Then Dr. Hiriluk finally gave him love, kindness, and a reason to live. But just when Chopper thought he had found a family, he unknowingly gave Hiriluk a poisonous mushroom, believing it could save his life. And moments later, Hiriluk died right in front of him. Chopper blamed himself for everything, believing his own kindness had killed the person he loved most. But Chopper's happiest moment came when he watched the sky magically fill with pink cherry blossom snow, created by Dr. Hiriluk's final invention. In that beautiful moment, all of Chopper's sorrow finally began to fade away. Nami's darkest moment was when everything she believed in was destroyed right in front of her. After spending years stealing money and suffering under Arlong just to buy back her village, she finally thought the nightmare was about to end. But then Arlong betrayed her, took all of her savings, and crushed the only hope she had left. In complete despair, Nami stabbed the Arlong tattoo on her arm over and over while crying helplessly. She carried the weight of her village alone for years, believing she had no choice but to suffer in silence. And in that broken moment, she finally asked Luffy for help. But Nami's happiest moment came when she was finally freed from that burden. After Luffy defeated Arlong, the villagers she fought to protect were finally safe, and for the first time in years, Nami no longer had to live in fear. She cried tears of relief instead of pain. Usopp's darkest moment was when he lost the Going Merry. To everyone else, it was just a ship. But to Usopp, Merry was a friend who had carried them through every adventure and protected them when nobody else could. So when Luffy decided they had to let the ship go, Usopp felt completely powerless and useless. Deep down, he believed that if the crew could abandon Merry, then one day they might abandon him too. That fear broke him so badly that he fought Luffy himself, despite knowing he couldn't win. And after losing, Usopp was left completely alone, questioning his place in the crew and his own worth. But Usopp's happiest moment came much later during Dressrosa. For most of his journey, Usopp saw himself as weak, cowardly, and incapable of becoming the brave warrior of the sea he dreamed of being. But in Dressrosa, despite being terrified, he still stood up to save people who believed in him. And when the citizens began cheering his name as God Usopp, it was the first time Usopp truly became a hero in the eyes of others. In that moment, Usopp moved one step closer to becoming the warrior he always wanted to be. Franky's darkest moment was when he blamed himself for Tom's death. As a child, Franky built battleships simply because he loved creating things, but those same ships were later used to attack Water 7 and frame Tom. When the world government took Tom away, Franky desperately tried to stop the sea train with his own body, only to be crushed and left nearly dead. In that moment, Franky believed his inventions had destroyed the life of the man who cared for him most. But Franky's happiest moment came when he finally completed the Thousand Sunny. Built from the legendary Atom wood, the Sunny wasn't just a ship, it was the dream vessel Franky had always wanted to create. After years of pain and guilt, he finally built something meant to carry dreams instead of destruction. For Robin, life became a nightmare the moment O'Hara was destroyed. As a child, Robin lost everyone she loved in a single day when the world government destroyed her home just because its people searched for the truth. She watched her mother die, saw Sol frozen before her eyes, and was forced to escape completely alone at only 8 years old. From that moment on, Robin spent her entire life running, betrayed by every group she joined and treated as a danger to the world. Over time, she stopped believing she deserved happiness at all. And by Enies Lobby, Robin had completely given up on living, choosing to sacrifice herself because she thought her existence only brought suffering to others. But Robin's happiest moment came when the Straw Hats refused to abandon her. Standing at Enies Lobby while the entire world was against them, Luffy and the crew burned the world government flag just to save her. For the first time in her life, people were willing to fight for Robin simply because they wanted her to live. And in that unforgettable moment, Robin finally broke down and screamed, "I want to live." After years of loneliness and pain, Robin finally found something she never thought she could have again, a family that truly wanted her by their side. Brook's darkest moment was watching every single member of the Rumbar Pirates die around him. One by one, his closest friends fell during their final song together, knowing none of them would survive. And after Brook died himself and returned because of his devil fruit, he was forced to spend decades completely alone on a silent ship surrounded by the corpses of his crew. For 50 long years, Brook drifted through the darkness with nobody to talk to, carrying the pain of broken promises and endless loneliness. The only thing keeping him alive was his promise to Laboon. But Brook's happiest moment came when he finally reunited with Laboon's memory through the Straw Hats and found a new family to sail with again. For Jinbe, the pain of losing Fisher Tiger changed his life forever. Fisher Tiger was more than just a captain to him. He was the man who carried the hopes of fishmen and dreamed of a world where humans and fishmen could finally live together. But after everything they suffered, Fisher Tiger still died, filled with hatred and unable to accept human blood to save himself. Jinbe watched his captain die while realizing how deeply the world's cruelty had broken him. But Jinbe's happiest moment came when he finally found people who truly accepted him without prejudice. After years years of carrying responsibilities and pain alone, Jinbe was finally able to sail freely beside the Straw Hats, and the moment that truly showed this was when he officially joined the crew and shared sake cups with them as an equal. For Sanji, the deepest pain came from his own family. As a child, Sanji was treated like a failure by the Vinsmokes simply because he was kind and unable to become an emotionless soldier like his brothers. He was beaten, mocked, and even locked away by his own father, who considered him worthless. The only person who ever showed him love was his mother, Sora, and after losing her, Sanji was left completely alone. Even years later during Whole Cake Island, Sanji was forced to relive that trauma when his family once again treated him as nothing more than a tool. But Sanji's happiest moment came when he finally realized he had found a true family in the Straw Hats. Unlike the Vinsmokes, the crew accepted Sanji for who he truly was, not for what he could become. And the moment that showed this most was when Luffy refused to leave Whole Cake Island without him. Even after Sanji attacked him and told him to go away, Luffy still waited for him in the rain, starving and beaten, because he truly believed Sanji belonged with them. Also, we can't forget Fishman Island, where Sanji was so happy after seeing mermaids that he literally almost died from excitement. Honestly, after everything he went through, maybe he deserved that moment too. For Zoro, the darkest moment was losing Quina. She was not only his greatest rival, but also the person who shared his dream of becoming the world's strongest swordsman. After promising each other that one of them would reach the top, Quina suddenly died the very next day. Zoro was devastated because he felt their dream had been stolen before it even truly began. From that moment on, Zoro carried both his own ambition and Quina's dream on his shoulders, and every defeat afterward only made that pain heavier, especially when Mihawk completely shattered his pride during their first battle. But Zoro's happiest moment came when he finally realized he had found people worth fighting and risking his life for. Even though becoming the world's strongest swordsman remained his greatest goal, the Straw Hats slowly became just as important to him, and one of the biggest moments showing this was after Thriller Bark, when Zoro silently took all of Luffy's pain and suffering onto himself. He nearly died protecting his captain and still stood there saying, "Nothing happened." It wasn't a happy moment in a normal sense, but it showed something powerful. Zoro had finally found a crew he considered more valuable than his own life. And honestly, seeing him laugh and celebrate with the Straw Hats after all his struggles makes those rare smiles feel even more meaningful. We all know the darkest moment of Luffy is Ace's death. After fighting through Impel Down and Marineford just to save his brother, Luffy finally thought Ace was safe. But right in front of him, Ace sacrificed himself to protect Luffy and died in his arms. For the first time in the entire series, Luffy completely broke down. He blamed himself for being too weak and felt like he had lost everything. Seeing the always cheerful and fearless Luffy screaming in pain while holding Ace remains one of the most heartbreaking moments in One Piece history. But Luffy's happiest moments are always the ones where he sees the people he loves smiling together. More than treasure or becoming Pirate King, Luffy values freedom and his friends above everything else. And one of his happiest moments was when he finally reunited with his crew after 2 years at Sabaody. After all the suffering, separation, and loss, the Straw Hats were finally together again, laughing and sailing toward new adventures. That moment perfectly captured what makes Luffy happiest, being surrounded by the people he considers family. Every Straw Hat carries pain that changed their life forever, but that's also what made their happiest moments feel so special. But now I want to ask you, which Straw Hat do you think suffered the most?